Before becoming one of the most famous faces in K-dramas, Jong Suk was just a shy, skinny kid from Yongin, a city on the outskirts of Seoul. He didn't stand out at school. He wasn't the most popular, nor the most confident. He was that type of student who stayed quiet in the corner, observing everything without making much noise. While his classmates played or talked loudly, he preferred silence. He was always more closed off, more introspective. Not out of arrogance, but because that's simply how he was. A guy who kept to himself. His father, a former military man, wanted him to be strong, decisive, athletic. He even put him in taekwondo classes. And Jong Suk did well, until he suffered a serious knee injury that ended any athletic dreams. It was during this period that he began to distance himself even further from others' expectations. When he revealed that he wanted to be a model, nobody took him seriously. After all, he was too young, too fragile, and too sensitive. But it was precisely this sensitivity that led him to achieve a historic feat. At 15, he became the youngest male model to walk the runway at the prestigious Seoul collection. A shy boy with an androgynous appearance who walked the catwalk like someone carrying a secret, and that drew attention. Still, his heart was somewhere else. He wanted to act. He wanted to tell stories, dive into characters, be someone who transforms in front of the cameras. But South Korea, famous for its aesthetic and emotional rigidity, didn't quite know what to do with a boy like him. Jong Suk wasn't the typical charismatic heartthrob who charms everyone at first glance. He was different, and for that very reason, it took time for him to be accepted. He auditioned, got many no's, heard cruel comments about his delicate appearance and his voice being too soft. But he didn't give up. Each rejection made him dive even deeper into his desire to prove he had something to say. The world didn't know it yet, but that quiet boy was about to become one of the most powerful voices of the new generation of K-dramas. The first time Jong Suk appeared in a Korean drama, nobody really noticed. In Prosecutor Princess in 2010, he was just a supporting character, a discreet piece in the middle of the board. But even with so little screen time, there was something about him that caught attention. Maybe it was his melancholic gaze, or the way he filled silences with presence. What few knew was that behind the scenes, he carried an absolute hunger to show what he was capable of. And it didn't take long for that hunger to find an opportunity. It was in Secret Garden, a Korean TV phenomenon, that Jong Suk took his first firm step toward stardom. Playing a genius musician, mysterious and of few words, a role that, let's admit, seemed to have been written especially for him, he began to capture gazes. The audience still didn't know his name, but they were already curious. But it was in School 2013, alongside Kim Woo-bin, that the name Jong Suk finally exploded. The drama, centered on real themes like bullying, school pressure, and broken friendships, not only consolidated his talent, but revealed an actor with extraordinary emotional depth. His character, Go Nam-soon, was vulnerable, quiet, full of internal scars, and at the same time, impossible to ignore. For the first time, Korea saw that this fragile and sensitive boy had something rare: truth. From then on, Jong Suk didn't stop. I Can Hear Your Voice came next, and with it, a new era for Korean dramas. More emotional, more psychological, more daring. He was no longer just a pretty face, he was a complete actor. In Pinocchio, he moved the country alongside Park Shin-hye with a character who couldn't lie. A delicious irony for someone who, in real life, also never learned to hide his emotions. Then came W, While You Were Sleeping. Romance is a bonus book, one success after another. And the most impressive thing is that even playing different roles, Jong Suk always left his mark. He had the rare ability to make viewers feel everything alongside the character: pain, doubt, desire, fear. It was as if he tore through the screen and invaded the hearts of those watching. Over time, he established himself as one of the most sought-after actors of his generation, and more than that, as a symbol, not just of beauty, but of male sensitivity, of a new type of man in dramas, quieter, deeper, more human. And, as if all this wasn't enough, Jong Suk decided to take a bold step, founding his own agency. He wanted to have control over his own career, the projects he chose, the image he built. A risky move in a market as competitive as Korea's, but one that showed something very clear. He knew who he was, and was no longer willing to be molded by others. But with fame also comes weight. And in Jong Suk's case, that weight would soon begin to exact its price, not just in the form of criticism and controversies, but also a loneliness that accompanied him even at the height of success. Despite becoming one of Korea's most popular actors, Jong Suk was never exactly a star who shines easily in public. Away from cameras, he's the opposite of the image many expect from a celebrity. He avoids interviews, rarely participates in variety shows, and when he appears at award ceremonies, he maintains a serious, almost distant demeanor. This generated speculation. Some said he was arrogant, others thought he simply felt superior. But the truth is much more human. He's just shy, deeply shy. Jong Suk grew up being introspective, reserved, someone who thinks too much before speaking and often prefers silence. In an industry where charisma and extroversion are almost mandatory, he seemed out of place. And this came at a price. For years, he heard that he was cold, that he didn't know how to communicate with fans, that he was difficult to work with, but deep down, he was just trying to survive a system that demands smiles all the time. In rare interviews, he admitted to having few friends in the entertainment industry, and that fame, instead of bringing him closer to people, isolated him even more. He spoke about backstage loneliness, about days when he felt empty even while at the top. He even commented on the constant fear of not being good enough, even with so many awards in his hands. And maybe that's why he started distancing himself from projects and disappearing for long periods from the media. While the public asked for more of him, he retreated. While the industry wanted him as a heartthrob, he wondered if that was really his place. It was as if there were two Lee Jong Suks, the actor who enchanted Korea, and the man who, even loved by millions, still felt alone. Even with a public image built on sensitivity and discretion, Lee Jong Suk didn't escape controversies unscathed. And in South Korea, where any deviation from perfection becomes a scandal, even silence can be misinterpreted. Behind the scenes in the industry, rumors began circulating that the actor was difficult to work with. Production teams said he was too closed off, uncommunicative, sometimes even cold. Quickly, what was shyness began to be read as arrogance. And the press didn't forgive. Headlines appeared insinuating that success had gone to his head. But the situation really got out of control in 2018 during a trip to Indonesia. Jong Suk was detained at the airport and had his passport confiscated after a fan event. The accusation was against the organizing company, but he was the one who paid the price. Trapped in a foreign country, unable to return home, he had to speak publicly and expose his exhaustion with the whole situation. The Korean press, once again, was harsh. They insinuated negligence, irresponsibility, and even bad faith, when all he did was attend an event with his fans. Shortly after came military enlistment, another point of tension. Due to an old knee injury, he served as a public service worker, not as a soldier. Even with medical reports justifying his condition, many began accusing him of wanting to escape patriotic duty, something viewed with extreme gravity in Korea. From then on, Lee Jong Suk became more protective. He avoided interviews, limited public appearances, and closed himself off even more. He was no longer just the drama heartthrob. Now he was also a target, a symbol of how even the most reserved can be devoured by a system that doesn't forgive imperfections. For years, Lee Jong Suk's love life was a true mystery. Behind the cameras, he always maintained a reserved, distant air, like someone who keeps feelings under lock and key. But that never stopped rumors from emerging, and many of them. One of the first names linked to him was Jin Si-yeon, his co-star in Doctor Stranger. The chemistry between them on screen caught attention, and the Korean press didn't waste time. But the rumors were quickly denied. Later, speculation arose involving Park Shin-hye, with whom he starred in the hit Pinocchio. The two were seen together several times outside of sets, and even posed for photo shoots with suggestive atmospheres. Still, no dating was confirmed. Another strong name was Han Hyo-ju, his partner in W2 Worlds. Once again, the on-screen chemistry fueled speculation, but as always, Jong Suk remained silent. And maybe that silence was what kept the public always curious. He was desired, admired, but unreachable. Until, in December 2022, Korea woke up to news that stopped the country. Lee Jong Suk and IU were dating, and this time, it was official. Both agencies confirmed the relationship in the first hours of the day. It wasn't rumor, nor speculation, it was real. The revelation shocked, but also enchanted. After all, IU is also known for her discretion and sensitivity. The two matched not only in fame and talent, but in personality. Jong Suk even declared in an interview that he always admired the way IU faced the ups and downs of her career. He said she inspires him, and IU in turn described the actor as someone who offers silent but constant support, the type of love that doesn't need words but is felt in the gaze. This new phase, more open, lighter, coincided with his triumphant return in Big Mouth, more mature, more confident, and now accompanied. Lee Jong Suk seemed to finally be living not just the peak of his career, but also of his personal life. The truth is that Lee Jong Suk was never the loudest, the most charismatic, or the most scandalous. But maybe that's exactly what made him so special. He grew up quiet, acted with his soul, faced unfair judgment, and found love away from the spotlight. In an industry that demands perfection and exposure, he chose depth and silence, and paid the price for it. But today, more mature, he shows that it's possible to be vulnerable without losing strength. If his story touched you, if you saw yourself in some moment of his journey, leave your like and share this video. And tell me in the comments, which Jong Suk drama marked you the most? Because in the end, we all have a side that nobody understands, and he had the courage to show his.